Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
How are we doing? Where are we starting?
Event in Newcastle last year to this one. What's the biggest difference?
The biggest difference, man. I think the biggest difference is what people they know what to expect with the PFL. They know the kind of events we're putting on and the kind of fights that we put together. Like this whole fight card, I've been very proud of it, and it's been difficult to keep these fights together. I've had so many replacements over these past 2 weeks. Honestly, it's been ridiculous. But the one thing that is for sure is everyone knows what the PFL is now from 2023. 2024, I've got fighters contacting me constantly, managers, coaches, can I get a spot on a card? So ultimately, I'm going to need more events. We did 4 last year, we're doing 4 this year. It's just not enough. We need more fights, more events in Europe, because there are so many good fighters out there, and I want to be signing them every week. You've seen some of the stars that we had on this show tonight. There are lots more out there for me to discover.
Yeah, so does it take a bit of work off your back that people are reaching out to you and looking forward? Because in the beginning, you had to scout everyone that you wanted to.
Yeah, it does make it a lot easier, to be honest. I mean, especially given the fact that when we announced the cards, like we're going to Glasgow, September 28th. I've got the main and co-main event sorted out. I could book another 30 fights on the card now with all the people that have messaged me, please get me on that card. Like even amateurs, now they know that we've had, Biagio, Ali Walsh, Nate Kelly, amateurs on the card. Even amateurs are contacting me now and saying, can I get a run out? Can I get the PFL gloves? So it does make my life a little easier, but then at the same time, I have to turn fighters away because I don't have enough spaces for them, and I don't like doing that.
Obviously, the acquisition of Bellator is huge. And what influence does that have on your planning for PFL Europe?
So Bellator at the moment is trying to find its feet as a different product. The thing with Bellator, they've got so many solid fighters, world-class fighters. We occupy a slightly different space with PFL Europe. I'm looking for European prospects, people that will eventually transition over to the championship fights in Bellator or the global roster, or even further. I mean, we've signed Mark Jacasey. He was here tonight. He's going straight onto the global roster. What a great addition. But he could quite easily step over onto a Bellator card as well. So it's almost like this is a platform that's got several different routes out of it. Bellator being one of them, the PFL global roster being one of them. Simeon Powell, who had a lot of success with us last year, he's fighting in Dublin in a couple of weeks coming up with another PFL fighter, Abdelair Rami. So I like this fluidity, this movement from one promotion to the next. But ultimately, the regional shows, PFL Europe, PFL MENA, these will all be the launching platforms into the major promotions that we've got.
Last question for me. You said it was hard to keep some matchups together. There's always people pulling out. This time I noticed there's a strawweight that went up to flyweight as a short-term replacement. Is that a conscious decision to have people from a lower weight class go up so that they can still make weight?
No, so Carolina was brought in as the alternate. So I had all 8 fighters locked in for the female flyweight division, and Carolina wanted to be the alternate. So we contracted her, and she was just coming to weigh in anyway. Now, of course, she is fighting up a weight class, but her record 11-5. She's got a lot of experience compared to these girls in this weight class. So it makes sense to kind of, what's the term, throw a cat among the pigeons, right? She's an interesting person to put in because she's smaller, she's faster, she's very, very aggressive, she's fought at the top level for world titles. So, she's an interesting addition to this. And then you've got Chanel on the other end of the bracket, 5-0. You've got to think that if she's going to be challenging someone that's got so many fights like Carolina, it's going to give her new things to think about. I mean, I don't mind too much people moving up and down weight classes. As long as the person can make weight and make weight healthily, if they're fighting up a weight class, it doesn't make that much of a difference. It's especially with this format, you've got to be fighting regularly. So these fighters are going to be fighting 2 more times this year, so they're going to have to make weight 2 more times. And Caroline, it's going to be a bit easier for her because she's not going to cut as much as these girls. Cool.
Great night of fights. Was there any particular fight or performance that stood out tonight?
Oh man, it's difficult to pick one out. I mean, honestly, Ibrahim to go through Josh Reed like that, I just don't see people do it. He's had some of the best fights, that we've had on domestic soil. Ibra just cut through him like a hot knife through butter. It was terrifying to watch, and that is the next generation of the PFL fighters. You know, same thing with Jack Grant, right? He had a really tough fight against the Lazy King in Paris. He wasn't in the bracket, he wanted the opportunity, and we had fallout, so he got the opportunity to step in. 40 seconds later, he suplexed his man, he's TKO'd him on the floor, and he's secured his place in the playoffs in Glasgow. There's just so many positive stories coming out of these things, you know what I mean? And even the other one as well. I mean, like, one of the most interesting matchups for me was Mark Ewan against Claudio Pachea, because we saw what Claudio was able to do in Paris against Patrick Habirora, who is another superstar, another talent. Mark Ewan, loads of people really excited about him, but he just wasn't able to get it done tonight. I mean, Claudio looked really good. All of the fights on these cards are evenly matched, and that's what makes me enjoy them as a fan, because I can sit there and you saw me with the Glasgow main event. I mean, Stevie Ray against Lou Long. I'm excited as a fan to see that, because it's a fascinating matchup between the two. So it's just pleasure. Every day I get to do something cool. I get to match someone or sign someone, or, you know, give an opportunity to a fighter that might not get the opportunity otherwise.
You've been around the sport for so long, you've been around different organisations. What do you enjoy most about your time in the PFL?
Man, that's a good question. I think the ferocity with the growth of the company, that's what I'm really enjoying. You know, a lot of other organisations, they kind of find their rhythm and they stick with that rhythm, and they're like, this is who we are, this is our identity. The PFL is not that. You know, since I joined, I mean, we've bought Bellator, we've set up another regional league with the PFL MENA, we've got other leagues starting up very soon. You know, we're already talking, like, Mark Jacasey signed to compete with the global season, but he's also, part of the reason why he signed is because he wants to be integral in the setting up of the Africa League, which is fantastic, you know what I mean? It's growth in every single direction of the promotion at the moment, and to be a part of that and to try and instigate some of that positive change, it's just really exciting.